Hello, I'm Noah Hill, and I appreciate you coming to hang out for another video. Or if this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you here. So, today I am making a video about books I have been reading, and I wanted to go over like my takeaways, how I've implemented them into my life. Am I even in focus? We're gonna pause real quick. So, my apologies. So, I wanted to talk about two books I've been reading. And the first one I've already finished. The second one I just started, and just how beneficial I have found these books to be for me in my life. Drinking a nice cold yerba mate because it's going to be like 80 degrees today, but I'm still in jeans because jeans or die for me unless I'm swimming. Could buy some swimming jeans. So, first book I wanted to talk about, Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So essentially, to summarize this book briefly, it's about the power of our thoughts, and if you're familiar at all with the placebo effect, it's more or less healing someone through the power of thought, and it doesn't necessarily have to be healing. It could be anything through the power of thought. For example, he shares a lot of anecdotes of documented procedures, experiments, etc. about the placebo effect. For example, in World War II, when doctors were running out of morphine to numb soldiers, they would give them a saline injection, which is just salt water, and the soldiers would respond as if it were morphine that they were given, even though they were given just saltwater injection. And so he dives deeper into this, talking about how we can heal ourselves, whether it be externally, mentally, or spiritually from within through the power of our thoughts. And so many times we get caught up living in autopilot or in negative emotions by, just doing things day in and day out and not consciously think about what we're doing, or consciously being in the moment, consciously healing ourselves, consciously, you get what I'm saying, but just being in the moment. And so he discovers this through the power of meditation, because when we're, at least in my experience, when I'm meditating, I am fully focused on myself in the moment, no distractions. Here we are. And so this is really a book dedicated to healing yourself from within and getting your upstairs house all good and ready, and being intentional with what you're doing in the thoughts that you're having, because our thoughts are very powerful. I mean, just earlier I was looking for my gorilla pod, and I was going down a spiral of anxiety, wondering where could it be at, where did I place it, and I started overly stressing to the point where I noticed I was really tense. I started to sweat a lot, and when we live in that state of stress, it's really corrosive, and it can come out through our bodies. And so this is such a powerful book. I've taken so much away from this. If you have the means to, I highly recommend picking this up, even if you don't have things you want to heal externally, whether that be your body, but it's just a great book to broaden your horizon, your mind's eye, to really allow, good positive energy to come in. And so with that being said, this is more of definitely an internal healing book, I guess you would call it. It focuses more on the internal aspect. So the next book I wanted to talk about was The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder, Caroll. You guys, a nice good look at that. So for me, this is working on yourself internally, and this is working on the external. And both of these books have themes of being intentional with what you're doing, the thoughts you're having, etc. And so what the Bullet Journal Method talks about by Ryder Caroll, he discusses this method of journaling, the bullet journal, pretty self-explanatory, kind of not really. So essentially what it is it's a journaling method where you can track, the tagline on here is track the past, order the present, design the future. And so, pretty straightforward, but he really dives into the why it's important and how in life we can feel like we have the weight of the world on our shoulders and we just have this big laundry list of to-do list to do, and it feels like we can never keep up or we can never be on top of things. And so with this, it allows you to, by bullet journaling, it allows you to, instead of taking the weight, putting all of that weight and things to do on your shoulders, it lays it out in front of you so that way you can get a good look at it and have a better understanding of what needs to be done and not feel like you're just drowning in a to-do list, and more like, okay, well today I gotta do this, my bills are due on this date, I have to keep this in mind, this is where some goals I want to achieve. And so it's really focused on weathering the external environment and how you can make that work for you, starting with yourself. And so a great analogy I have developed and learned is, you know, our energy is in ourselves is like a cup of water. And so if we really want to dedicate ourselves to helping others and being there for them, then we need to first fill up our own cup. And we need to be energized and full of positive energy ourselves. But if we're an empty cup, then we're just drying ourselves out and draining ourselves even more. And we can't exactly give that person, you know, the fullest help that they may deserve. And so with this bullet journal method, he's really focused on, like I said, weathering the external. And so these have both been so beneficial to me because I'm able to intentionally change my thoughts and implement the habit of meditation into my daily routine. I meditate ideally twice a day, once when I get up and another when before I go to bed. And so it allows me to really do a meta-analysis of what am I thinking? How are my thoughts affecting me? And how can I shift my mindset so that way I can be a more free and live a more fulfilling life? And so with this, it's taking your external environment, work, bills, school, whatever it may be, and you're able to keep track of it in a nice, neat journal. And so you don't feel like you're suffocating. You're able to successfully navigate one thing at a time and work toward those bigger goals that you have by doing these small little wins, by crossing things off the to-do list. Ryder Caroll is a really big believer in, I don't know what you would call, but doing things by analog, but physically writing them down and physically crossing them off, because it's, for one, it's satisfying, and two, it's a visual representation of your wins and your achievements. It's like sometimes we have days where we just feel like it's a never-ending battle, but when we take 2 seconds to look back at our to-do list, it's like, well, I didn't lose necessarily. I have these small wins, you know, I was able to get this done, I was able to go grocery shopping. And so now I'm making an effort to bullet journal even more, because my old journal, given like I'm only like halfway through filling out this one, but it is just dates filled with to-do lists, with journal prompts, whatever, which is great. But if I need to go back and look something because I wrote something down that was important, I'm never going to find it. And so what I like about reading this is it's going to allow me to organize my thoughts, my life, a whole lot easier compared to just writing them down and having a never-ending list of metaphorical post-it notes everywhere where I'm trying to find what's what. Because with bullet journaling, you actually you create yourself a dedicated table of contents, so you can be like, okay, so for the month of June, I wrote down an important date, it was that, and it's on page whatever. You get the point. So I hope you guys were able to take something away from this. I encourage you guys to read both of these books, read something similar to it. So sorry for the external noise. I live in an apartment, so you know how it goes. But highly encourage you guys to check out these books and let me know your takeaways. Comment them down below. I appreciate you coming to hang out. Consider subscribing if you aren't already, and be sure to tap that like button. If you like these topics where I talk about a little bit more deeper philosophical life topics like meditating and spirituality, be sure to check out my podcast, Getting Along with Noah Hill, me. And so it's on anywhere you can find podcasts, except Apple Podcasts. I'm working on getting that uploaded to there, but it's on Spotify, it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Anchor, wherever you like listening to podcasts, it is there. And so feel free to check that out. I talk a little bit more in detail about personal stories for me and adversities I may have overcome and things I wish I would have knew, and maybe advice that you can take away from it. So yeah, so check out Getting Along with Noah Hill. What else? Follow me on Instagram, my personal Instagram @NomaJust. Follow my photography Instagram @Captain Hill. Follow the podcast Instagram @GettingAlongPod. I appreciate you guys so much for coming to hang out and your support, because I love making these videos, and I appreciate all the feedback that I get, and it keeps me going. What do you guys think of this semi-professional YouTube setup? I know we're just in my apartment, but I'm still trying to work out how I can film videos, because I like doing these talking head portions, and I also love doing vlogs, so I'm trying to find a very happy medium. So check out my Instagrams, subscribe, tap the like button. Appreciate you guys so much for coming to hang out. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.